thanks to Bosco for this great opportunity to present once again this month about Island Blue, about Citizenship Investment Program, Cyprus Investment Program for Citizenship. And my presentation, it was titled as what is the priority when considering the Citizenship Program? Is it the program itself? Is it the procedures, the aspects, etc., or the property as an important component, important investment instrument? And of course, I represent a developer. I represent Island Blue Cyprus in the Russian Federation and the Commonwealth of Independent States. But I will not just talk about property, but let's look at all the aspects. To start with, let me just start my screen. There you are. What are the reasons that various applicants apply to consider which particular citizenship program to go for? And of course, it can be just relocation of the family itself. It can be relocation of the business. It can be various tax optimization reasons. It's sometimes it is, of course, very good conditions. For example, Cyprus, Republic of Cyprus, is the member state of European Union. But very recently, the question of security, of course, is the primary reason. And by that, I mean not just the, as we would call the second option, but also the actual security of your future. And with all the other reasons that I listed, what is also important is when the security of the family, the security of all the applicants. And by that, I mean not just the good quality education and good public service system, legislation, recognized state as the member of European Union, etc., but also the medical system. In the last 6 months, the good case for Cyprus, and this is very important, is that the Republic of Cyprus came through so far COVID-19 crisis with flying colors. You know, the number of infected was quite low. The number of deceased was very low. The conditions of lockdown were very strict. And it's a prime example on why the criteria for considering which citizenship to select, they're changing, you know, they are evolving. And I work with Russian-speaking clients and Russian-speaking partners. And of course, the clients are coming through to us from all walks of life. For those reasons that I listed, they can be supplied, they can be referred to us by a taxation consultant, for example, or it could be a real estate agent. And so why Cyprus, especially considering the current state of things in Europe and even globally? I'll tell you, my presentation will be of several slides that I will concentrate on at the beginning, and then quite a number of slides which will be dedicated to various projects that are in the process of being built, and some are completed and offered to investors and sold. Everything that I talk about, the first part of the presentations are the reasons why, you know, all the various criteria that must be considered, not just the property. Okay, this is my point. However, I will talk about Island Blue Cyprus, of course. So a little bit about Cyprus itself. It is on the crossroads of three continents. You know, it's Europe, Asia, and Africa. And because it's based on an island, it's one of the reasons where the country went into lockdown. And like compared to mainland European states, for example, managed the COVID-19 situation really well. And if we look back, maybe pre-COVID situation, pre-difficult months, the stats were actually very good for Cyprus. Sorry, I have some of my slides in Russian, but this is good for the for our professional interpreters. If we look at GDP, it was quite a good figure, judging by the sort of European comparison. For the year 2020, of course, that will be adjusted because the country was in lockdown for a couple of months. But as I said, for a population of just above 1 million people, the number of deceased was very low. And, you know, this is just one of those, one of the markers that the health system is very good. So I won't dwell too much on all the advantages of being based in Cyprus. You know, it's English is one of the official languages. Obviously, the taxation regime is quite moderate and in some cases very preferential in the European Union. 340 sunny days in the year, in the calendar year, and it's a very safe country in terms of criminal activities. It's actually one of the safest countries in the world in its own category. So education, and as I said, health system, euro is the currency, and of course, fantastic climate, great beaches, blue flags, etc. So a little bit about Island Blue itself. We are concentrating, we're local to Paphos. So Paphos is our home base, and this is where all of our projects are located. Historically, Island Blue and its founders, they are actually, they've lived and worked in the area of real estate and development for at least, well, since late 70s. And we know everything about Paphos. If we talk about comparing usually the 5 major cities in the Republic of Cyprus, Limassol, Larnaca, Nicosia, Paphos, Ayia Napa, we actually compare only Paphos to Limassol and vice versa. Why we are building in Paphos? The first reason is Limassol is offered to investors, those who apply for citizenship through investing into property. Property in Limassol is very modern. It's high rises, skyscrapers, and Limassol is considered the business capital of the Republic of Cyprus. So there's a lot of traffic jams. Of course, if you are purchasing a flat in a high-rise, then there is there's always a chance of somebody building it one before you, and you will be in the shade of another skyscraper. That's unfortunate, but in Paphos, it's a UNESCO protected area, and there's quite a high number of archaeological sites and also areas of natural outstanding beauty. And it is not allowed currently to build anything above, anything that would be considered a skyscraper. In Paphos, it's a low rise, it's villas, or if they're blocks of apartments or office blocks, there will be maybe maximum 5 or 6 or 7 stories high. So in that sense, you get the best views, because you can see the sea and you can see the hills, almost from, if it's a block of flats, we make sure that from at least one point in each of the flats you can see that. And okay, we have golf clubs, we have international schools, we have good hospitals, very good shopping in the center of the city. Of course, if we talk about Limassol, it's between the 2 airports, Larnaca and Paphos. So Paphos has got its own airport, international airport, and that's very useful. Because if you live in Paphos, it takes you like 15 minutes to land, go through the, collect the luggage, and like half an hour later, you're actually enjoying your own home. A little bit about Cyprus Investment Programme. Just very briefly, if we're talking, it's 2 million euros plus VAT invested into newly built property. If it's residential, if it's commercial, it's a little bit more. It's 2.5 million. And of course, that property needs to be held for at least 5 years. And part of that property, to the value of at least €500,000, needs to be held as the main residence after the period of 5 years. Apart from that, also €150,000 will be donated to special government funds. And it's a straightforward application process. And obviously, when the investor goes through it, property is what we talk about most of the time. There's quite a selection of it. As I mentioned, in many areas, there's quite a number of developers building. We're concentrating on Paphos because we know Paphos is the best location to actually build new properties in the Republic of Cyprus. I will talk about the quality of what we build a little bit later. So if the investor doesn't require the actual citizenship, but is considering permanent residency, that is available as well. And that is only for €300,000 and above invested into a newly built property. Of course, as Andrus mentioned, the residency doesn't necessarily provide a lot of rights in the European Union. For example, there's no right to work or apply for public funds. But for some of the investors, this is quite a good option, where the actual business is relocated and then the owner of the business having the residency is enjoying a very favorable tax regime. So if I stop here and I talk about the reasons on why we consider the Republic of Cyprus currently as the best offer, not just in terms of availability of highest quality property, but on many other aspects. Cyprus has got a very diversified economy. It's shipping, agriculture, tourism, of course, but for the last several years, there was a lot of information published about the largest gas reserves, natural gas reserves, that were discovered just in the economic zone of Republic of Cyprus, offshore. And just before the COVID-19 situation began, there were actually agreements, the first agreements signed on developing those gas fields by Cyprus, Israel, and Greece. And the reason why I'm saying this is very important nowadays. You know, first of all, the actual practical implementation already started. The first pipeline will go to Israel, and then sort of the opposite end will be extended via Crete to Greece, and from Greece potentially to Italy. Italy being one of the largest consumers of natural gas in the European Union. And here I'm not a politologist. I only represent a property developer. But if we think rationally, what's happening in the world right now, you know, the largest gas producer in the world is under sanctions right now. Although this country is still supplying gas to the European Union, you know, it feels the pressure now from the United States of America. And literally, I knew there would be something before this seminar, and we know that USA, for example, said if any foreign companies are participating in Nord Stream and Turk Stream, Nord Stream 2 and Turk Stream, they better get out now, or they will be fined under a new round of sanctions. And you know, Cyprus is not a big player in the energy market field globally. So why would, you know, who else would be actually developing those fields? Who will be mining that gas, storing and supplying, etc.? It will be transnational companies. Most likely, first of all, they will be American, they will be European, and they will be from Israel and maybe from other parts of the world. And this is where I'm thinking logically, if you are a member of European Union, who would you buy your gas supplies from right now? From another member state or from a country which is constantly coming under sanctions for the last 5 years? Obviously, I would select the former. So there's a real reason that those particular gas fields will be developed, will start being developed very soon. And how does that work? Primarily, the top managers are sent to the country, Republic of Cyprus, to set up the operation and then to attract more highly qualified specialists to actually be positioned there 24/7, 365 days together with their families. So that's how the industry operates. If a transnational company goes into a new country to develop business there, they actually relocate a lot of highly qualified specialists. And the company pays for absolutely everything. It's a relocation of the family, financial provision for the best quality education, so the best private medical services, you know, drivers and stuff and so on, to the extent that those specialists and top managers, best managers, they have quality of life at least as good as they had before, say in another country. It could be in Emirates, it could be in Sakhalin in Russian Federation, where you know, Shell actually first of all went and built the whole city because there was no suitable, appropriate quality housing for their specialists. And this is one of the reasons why we say we have the best quality, top specification properties available for the investors to purchase when participating in Cyprus Investment Programme, obtaining citizenship by investment property, to purchase then to either live in or rent out. And just one of those projects, for example, Island Blue actually received 5 awards in the last 2 years: International Property Awards, European Property Awards. The best development, this one is called Pearl, and it's sea caves. If you know Paphos a little bit, this is the most photographed sightseeing spot in Cyprus. And that's true, you know. So these are the views that the investor will have when buying this particular property. So there's this particular development is only 7 villas, and they are 7 villas of 5 bedrooms and 2 villas of 6 bedrooms. Fantastic panoramic views, and as I mentioned before, the quality of materials, the specification of all the white goods and furniture installed in there is at the highest standard. Why so? Because we know historically, first of all, even if we're talking about short-term rental, those will be rented out first and at a much higher price. The best quality built, new built developments are rented out either short-term or long-term at a premium. Exactly for that reason, that the person who will live in that, they would expect the quality of life of at least the standard they're used to, if not above that. So we carefully select locations for our developments, and they're mostly around Paphos and Paphos neighborhood. For example, this particular plot, just look at that. These are the views that all of the inhabitants of those villas will enjoy. So it's sea in front of you, and on the other side, the hills. That is the spot I was talking about. Sea Caves is the most photographed beauty spot in the Republic of Cyprus. So this particular development, as I said, this is the second part of my presentation. I will be just paging through and commenting on what we see here. And our philosophy is the best quality, the highest specification, and at a very reasonable price as well. Historically, the prices for high specification villas are actually lower in Paphos compared to Limassol. So, and that allows us to offer quite an interesting construction of property portfolio for our investors. For example, as I mentioned, the investor will have to allocate 2 million euros to qualify for the program. And rather than spending all of the 2 million on just one property, we can actually select and combine the portfolio where the main residence is around the 500,000 euros mark, maybe 560, 750,000 euros. And the rest can be invested into various properties of smaller size, and I'm talking apartments, or maybe smaller houses that can be managed and rented out for a stream of good income. And actually, for the first 3 years, we guarantee that the revenue will be around 3.5–4% per year. So this is Sunset Sea Caves, another project of a similar specification to Pearl, in exactly the same location, where the investor will enjoy the fantastic views, you know, quite a secluded villa because the location is very carefully designed and used so that you actually, you know, you have neighbors, but you don't see them and you don't necessarily hear them. Large land plots, and because it's on elevation, it's on the hill, you don't actually see or hear anything that is above you or below you, and that's very, very convenient. So again, some of the project views. In this particular project, for example, there's only 2 villas left for sale. This villa number 5 and 3. The rest are being acquired by the investors. This is what I'm talking about. As you can see on the elevation, this is a 2-story, maybe with a basement, 3-story villa that actually overlooks the sea. And then there's a split, 2 split levels, sort of bungalow type villa that cannot see anything above it, but they still enjoy the same views. Fantastic views of sea caves. Another example where we say this is what the property portfolio is combined of. This particular project, Oasis Villas, one of the best locations in Paphos. It's not too far away from a very buzzing, busy tourist district. So you can actually enjoy, you know, all of the shopping, all of the seafront and the beaches and so on, restaurants, and yet it's more residential. So you have the sea views, you have the mountain views, and all the amenities are within an easy reach. It's literally walking distance, you know, between a kilometer, maybe no more than, you know, 5 minutes drive to the center of the town for shopping, etc. And this is my time nearly over. What I was going to also say, we very carefully select the plots because we know in Paphos, we are the developer number 1 for highest quality and top specification villas and apartments. But we are not just, we're concentrating primarily on the developments, on real estate, but in our group of companies, of course, we have the lawyer, the company that will help you with the contract for the property itself, and also will help to apply for the citizenship. And through that process, we are, you know, we've been doing it since the very beginning. Dozens and dozens of satisfied investors who have Cyprus passport now because they worked with us and they invested in our properties. And we are like, you know, full circle. We are a full service property company to the extent that we also have a management company. So if you consider this particular combination of main residence for yourself and a number of properties to rent out, we do that for you as well. So we manage the properties and we rent them out. And again, going back to the current situation, the very you know, reason why Cyprus became so interesting again for this season, and it's just started, unfortunately, because of the lockdown, but already everything that is remote, everything that is in the suburbs, everything, all the properties that are not, you know, overpopulated, so to say, they're already rented out. Till October till November even. So those visitors who can afford highest quality properties, they don't want to be in five-star hotels right now, you know. They don't want to be, you know, seen in highly populated areas. That's the situation right now, and that's why we're also offering high specification villas and apartment blocks on the outskirts, you know, in the suburbs of Paphos. This particular presentation, and I used it a couple of weeks ago as well at Bosco, is actually has got about 100 slides or so. There are plenty of developments in detail with specification, etc. That you will be able to download that. So all I want to say now is, if you're considering, for various reasons, applying for citizenship through investing into property in the Republic of Cyprus, do talk to us, islandbluecyprus.com. All the contacts are available through Bosco, and I will be happy to talk to you about your requirements and how we can satisfy them.
That is brilliant, Andrei. Thanks very much for the presentation. Very nice. And there are a couple of things that I think that catch the eye, and it is not only the fact that basically you and your company developed to high standards, but it is basically that they are intended to the affluent target audience for nowadays. I mean, yesterday I was hosting a webinar on another topic, and we were speaking with a very well-known developer as well, and he was targeting his the next villas for ultra high net worth individuals. Basically on that, I mean, with a space. I mean, you don't want to see who is in front of you. You don't want to, basically you want to be there. And if you want to spend your holidays, or if you want to spend 6 months a year because you're working from home, because right now, I mean, everyone is working from home or from the office or half and half. It is a great opportunity. It is very well targeted, basically for a post-COVID-19 world, to be honest with you. And about that, actually, we have a question which is, was asking about the approximate price, the approximate euros, the approximate price per square meter. Can you give us an orientation on that?
Very roughly, you know, because I know price per square meter is a traditional question, but, you know, a price per square meter will all depend on the location and specification, you know, and very roughly we have villas that are priced at, let's say, about 600,000 euros right now, and they would be about 100 plus square meters of the built-up area. So it's a very reasonable price, you know, and for villas, for apartments, it's obviously totally different. It's all on the size of the building and its location. But again, I know it's a fact, we are about 15% at least below what's offered in Limassol right now.
That's good. At the end of the day, at this point in time, the best option would be to contact you directly and see what you can do for them, you know, and ask them their specification and that sort of stuff. Absolutely,
that'd be great.